Periculos inclusiv al siguranței sale. Pleacă cu Air Force One. Aseară, în momentul în care trebuia să plece, știți foarte bine, era momentul cu explozia, nu se știa ce s-a întâmplat, nu erau toate datele, un spital cu mulți civili să fie bombardat de către israelieni, dar președintele Biden astăzi a făcut un lucru extrem de interesant. A plecat cu avionul, nu a comunicat nimic la plecare. Din avion a spus că așteaptă să vadă care sunt realitățile. A ajuns însă în Israel, în momentul în care coboară din Air Force One, îl ia în brațe pe premierul Netanyahu și pe președintele Herzog și apoi încep o serie întreagă de comunicări pe care le face. Cert este că președintele Biden nu doar că nu a crezut ceea ce a spus Hamasul, că Israelul a lovit spitalul din Gaza, ci mai mult decât atât aflăm de la corespondentul de la Casa Albă și cea care este în momentul de față unul dintre cei mai credibili jurnaliști ai planetei, Caitlin Collins, vorbește despre faptul că președintele le-a spus jurnaliștilor aflați la bordul Air Force One că dovezile cu privire la cine a tras rachetele asupra spitalului nu le are doar de la israelieni, le are de la Pentagon, de la Departamentul de Apărare al Statelor Unite. Președintele a văzut dovezile, iar astăzi a mers într-o zonă de război deschis, de conflict și modul în care a transmis mesajele pentru aceia care în acest moment vor să se folosească de această ocazie pentru
But they're speaking in Romanian. I don't, of course, understand them. I'm seeing the report, right? Biden is taking off.
Doamnelor și domnilor, dați-mi voie
să vă prezint
invitații mei speciali din această seară. Apoi vom merge la Ierusalim, vom intra în legătură directă cu consilierul, cu mâna dreaptă a președintelui Benjamin Netanyahu, va fi în legătură cu noi în doar câteva clipe. Dați-mi voie să îi prezint pe invitații mei, așadar, în studioul nostru în această seară, doamnelor și domnilor, domnul Bogdan Chiriac, jurnalist major al acestei țări și analist de asemenea de prestigiu. Bună seara! Spune bun venit domnului Ștefan Popescu, analiză politică externă, domnului general profesor universitar dr. Cristian Barbu, domnului general Mircea Mândrescu, domnului general Eugen Bădălan, fost șef al statului major general, domnului Mugur Ciuvică. La acest moment se vor alătura și alți invitați, doamnelor și domnilor. Bun, haideți să ne uităm un pic la ceea ce mi se pare extrem de important, domnule Bogdan Chiriac, într-un singur minut. Imaginea zilei cu aceste orașe în care am văzut proteste și furia aceasta anunțată de Hezbollah au fost niște imagini care au dat fiori planetei. Să ne obișnuim cu ele?
Da, putem spune că planul Hamas, început pe 7 octombrie, merge bine. Din nefericire pentru lumea civilizată, chiar foarte bine.
E chiar planul Hamas sau este scris de altcineva?
Eu cred că este scris la nivel statal, dar în față este Hamas, organizație teroristă, în principiu, în realitate, o întreagă ideologie se ascunde sub numele de Hamas. Iar felul în care au procedat, cu 12 ore înaintea vizitei președintelui Joe Biden, acea rachetă care nu...
You've got like 3 Parshanim talking. I don't know when I'm going to be. Can someone talk to me, please, in Romania?
De altfel și discursul arată că era prevăzut să fie rostit și în Cisjordania, în care Joe Biden...
No one's talked to me yet. Yeah. Ask them if they can...
și Palestina. Plus că a venit și cu bani.
Forget it.
Suma nu este...
it's not that important.
Pentru început, 100 de milioane de dolari ajutor pentru Gaza, a spus, e în regulă Gaza care are nevoie, și Cisjordania. Cisjordania până aseară nu se dublase nimic care să spună că are nevoie de bani. Deci el oferă, se vedea în Cisjordania Mahmoud Abbas.
Sorry?
S-a mai întâmplat asta, Iordania a respins și ea întâlnirea cu Joe Biden, de asemenea Egiptul.
Îmi permite să ne întoarcem imediat, domnule Bogdan Chiriac, pentru că în acest moment avem o legătură extrem de importantă la cabinetul primului ministru Benjamin Netanyahu. Avem onoarea de a avea emisiunea noastră pe Mark Regev, este consilier al premierului Netanyahu. A avut o carieră strălucită, diplomat, domnia sa a fost și ambasadorul Israelului în Regatul Unit, o carieră impresionantă. Good evening, sir. So good to have you tonight.
I'm happy to be with you.
Sir, first of all, in the end of this day, we remember what happened last night. IDF in the morning was presenting strong proofs that the Islamic State actually was doing this attack. And of course, everybody was asking, or many of us was asking, was that a mistake, like IDF said, or something else? Because they tried to use this against Israel in a manner that, of course, everybody was understanding what is there. Do you think that was a mistake or was on purpose?
So first of all, can I start the interview by thanking Romania? Your prime minister, I think, was the first head of state to come to, first head of government, I should say, to come to Israel in this crisis. His visit was much appreciated. He came with your Minister of Foreign Affairs and with your Minister of Defense. I know that your president in Bucharest has spoken also very strongly in support of Israel. I know that the houses of your parliament have also expressed support. And I want to tell you, in Israel, we appreciate Romania's support at this difficult time for our country. And that needs to be said. Israel has friends in Romania, and we appreciate that. To answer your question, last night, Hamas said that we had attacked a hospital and killed hundreds of innocent civilians. And unfortunately, too many people believe their propaganda. And we, at the beginning, we raised questions because we had no knowledge of any such attack. But of course, we waited until we could have the facts. We don't run out and say things we don't know in Israel. We're a responsible country, and we wouldn't just deny something without being sure that we were not involved, because there's always the possibility of stray fire. But we did check it out, and in the end, we proved conclusively that the explosion at the hospital was not because of an Israeli attack, but because of a rocket fired by Islamic Jihad. Islamic Jihad is the terrorist organization in Gaza that is Hamas's little brother, so to speak. Hamas is the larger terrorist organization. Islamic Jihad is the small brother. And they had fired rockets, a volley of rockets into Israel. And one of those rockets fell short inside the Gaza Strip and caused the damage, a malfunctioning of their rocket. We've seen this in the past. Up to 30% of their rockets have malfunctioned in the past, and this is not a surprise. We can prove this through video footage where you actually see the rockets go up and then the explosion in the hospital. It's interesting, this video footage came from Al Jazeera, which is not known, the Al Jazeera Pan-Arab network, which is not known for being friendly to Israel, but their video shows this very clear. There was also another independent Israeli video taken by security cameras. And on top of all that, Israeli intelligence found a conversation, a communication between Hamas officials where they said that they knew that it was Islamic Jihad that shot the rocket that hit the hospital. And so we were able to, within a matter of hours, prove conclusively that it wasn't our ordinance. And here we have to say that those who believe the propaganda of Hamas are being irresponsible. Hamas has no qualms whatsoever about killing innocent people. We saw that in Israel on October 7th, when they butchered our civilians. But just as they have no qualms about killing people, they have no qualms about killing the truth. And to tell lies and spread propaganda and disinformation that Israel is responsible for some atrocity. Of course, they say it, but the international community has to be very skeptical. Just as you don't believe ISIS statements, one shouldn't believe statements by Hamas.
Sir, I was asking tonight a question regarding who is beyond what is happening right now in Israel. Of course, we know the answer, that Iran is trying to use and is using Hamas and Hezbollah. But also the question is just Iran, because we saw that attack more than 1 week ago on 7th. We saw that attack. We saw how many missiles they have. We saw that what Hezbollah can do. And we saw today that protests all over, was in West Bank, in Jordan, in Iran, in Turkey, Iraq, and many others. Is just Iran beyond that? Do you have any suspicion that someone is trying to to make in the region something maybe bigger than what we have right now? What is your answer to this question?
We are concerned, and we are watching closely what Iran is doing, both directly and through its proxies, Hamas in Gaza and Hezbollah in Lebanon. You know, many people from President Biden, European leaders, and in Israel have made comparisons between Hamas and ISIS. Now, ISIS had territory in Iraq and in Syria and was defeated. We will defeat Hamas in Gaza, but in many ways, Hamas is superior in its strength to ISIS because Hamas has a state sponsor. And that state sponsor, that state backer is Iran, that has provided over 90% of Hamas's budget, has supplied them with weapons, with training, with logistic support. And so Hamas is the force it is today because of Iran. And when we destroy Hamas's military machine, as we will, and as we take apart its political structure in Gaza, we will be taking away Iranian influence from Gaza. That is our goal. The Iranians and their proxies, Hamas in Gaza and Hezbollah in Lebanon, they are opposed to peace and reconciliation in the Middle East. They're opposed to any peace. And this has to be said. You know, recently we've been having a good news story. We were talking about the possibility of a peace breakthrough between Israel and Saudi Arabia. We have peace with Egypt, we have peace with Jordan, we have peace with Morocco, we have peace with the UAE, we have peace with Bahrain, and people were talking about Saudi Arabia also normalizing ties with Israel. This is a good thing. Countries across the world, from Romania to France, to Germany, to Britain, to the United States, everyone welcomes Middle East peace, but not Iran, not Hamas, not Hezbollah. For them, peace in the Middle East is a threat. Peace in the Middle East for them is a tragedy. And I hope that in defeating Hamas, as we will be destroying the forces that oppose peace. And in the space, we will see come out forces that are more realistic, more pragmatic, that will help us make peace in the Middle East.
Do you have any information if Iran is talking about what is happening, about using Hamas and Hezbollah? They was asking for any approval to some of, everybody is thinking to one or two countries. Did they talk with Russia or China about their plans for Middle East and what is happening right now? Do you have any information like that?
I can't share anything with you specific. It's clear that Iran has good relations with Russia and good relations with China. Iran has bad relations with most of the countries of the Middle East, Israel and our Arab neighbors, who see Iran as a negative force, a force for extremism, a force for violence, a force for terrorism. I'll give you an example. Hezbollah in Lebanon is considered a terrorist organization by the Arab League. The Arab world has declared Hezbollah, designated it legally a terrorist organization. So Iran's immediate neighbors are very wary of Iran's nefarious, negative behavior. And we in Israel are concerned about an escalation in the north with Iranian encouragement. And there is concern that Hezbollah could drag Israel and Lebanon into a war. We don't want this war. And we will do our best to avoid it. But if they force us to fight, we will fight. Israel has, unfortunately, in the past, had to fight a two-front war, one in the north and one in the south. If we are forced to do it again, we will prevail. And I would say to the people of Lebanon, don't allow Iran, through Hezbollah, to initiate a round of fighting, because if there is such fighting, unfortunately, there will be much damage and destruction in Lebanon.
President Biden was giving us a strong message to Israel and a strong message to the world. Do you expect after this visit that the countries who now are trying to express their fury, what Hezbollah was asking, protesting in the streets and everything what they done, some violences, we saw strong images from there. Do you expect that the region to see an escalation there of violence? What do you expect from tomorrow regarding this?
So I am hopeful that Arab leaderships across the region will see that the so-called reason for this wave of protests, the alleged Israeli massacre at the hospital, that they will listen to their Western friends, they will listen to Israel's information and see that Israel was not responsible for what happened at the hospital, and that this is propaganda, that is disinformation by Hamas, and supported, of course, by Iran and Hezbollah. Look, the Middle East has many positive developments. I spoke before about the enlarging circle of peace. But those negative forces that oppose peace and reconciliation, like Iran, like its proxies, Hezbollah and Hamas, they are still there. And I believe that when we defeat them, as we will defeat Hamas in Gaza. When that happens, it is better for Israel because our people will be living a more safe life without living next to this terrible terrorist enclave right on our border. But I believe it will also be good for the people of Gaza, who will have a more responsible leadership, I hope. And it will be better for everyone who wants to see peace in the Middle East.
The final question. Do you have any information that Iran or some other countries would like to join the conflict? Do you expect that maybe this war will go wider?
So we hope not, but obviously we have to be prepared for it. Because as Hezbollah surprised and attacked us and massacred our people on October 7th, Hezbollah could make the same move in the north. And though we don't want it, we must be ready for it. And my message to Hezbollah is clear. Hamas took us by surprise, and we paid a price. We lost 1,400 people. You know, there's over 200 bodies that are so burned that we can't identify who they are because of Hamas's brutality and the way they burnt our people alive. But in the north, we won't be surprised. We're watching closely. Our army is in a state of readiness. And if Hezbollah attacks us, we will be prepared. Our military is ready, and they will pay a price. They will not get us unexpected and surprised like Hamas did. We will be ready to meet the challenge, and we will be victorious. We will win. There will be a price for the state of Lebanon. There will be a price for the people in Israel who will have to fight hard, but we will win. Hezbollah has the ability through Iran to drag us into a terrible Israel-Lebanese war. I hope they don't do it, but if they do, they will pay a price.
Sir, thank you so very much for your presence tonight in our program. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Am fost în legătură directă cu unul dintre principalii consilieri ai premierului israelian Benjamin Netanyahu, domnul Mark Regev. Doamnelor și domnilor, am stat de vorbă doar câteva clipe și iată ce s-a întâmplat în această perioadă, minutul și știrea de importanță în ziua furiei. Așadar, avem imagini în momentul de față de la proteste din Turcia, de la Consulatul Statelor Unite din Turcia, imagini în direct și incitări în zona respectivă. Avem de asemenea imagini din Grecia, doamnelor și domnilor. Acolo există de asemenea un protest pentru susținerea palestiniană cu elemente clare împotriva Israelului. Așadar, în momentul de